Passenger speaks of in-flight incident. Ex-servicemen in Leh still awaiting repatriation. And transport issues to be focus of October APEC meeting.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Thursday's news. Following our story yesterday on an incident in a Singapore-bound Air Niugini flight, a passenger on that flight spoke of it after arriving back in the country this morning. Leh-based businessman Matthew Minape was one of two passengers who restrained a fellow passenger from opening an emergency exit door after inflating his life jacket while the plane was in flight.
Mr. Minape was swarmed by a group of journalists upon his arrival in Port Moresby this morning. He revealed the events that took place inside the PX392 international flight. He said a passenger of Indian and Middle Eastern appearance inflated a life jacket before aiming for the emergency exit door.
The guy inflated the life jacket, he was just next to the exit. And before that he was checking his bags. He got two bags.
Minape has not ruled out the possibility of a plane hijack but says the fellow passenger was deliberate in his actions but failed.
So I jumped over him and I grabbed him on his shoulder and I said, "You can't do this." And I said, I lifted up my voice and said, "This is a Papua New Guinea aircraft, this is my aircraft, and you can't do this, you know. You get down and sit down here. What are you trying to do?" And while I was arguing with him, one of the steward, he came up and he removed the inflated jacket. And then all the air hostess and the crew members, they were all alert of what was happening. They reported to the captain.
PX392 was bound for Singapore when the incident happened over the Indonesian airspace. Minape said with the help of other two passengers, he got the suspect strapped to a seat until the plane arrived in Singapore.
When we landed, the crew members came up, they got him, he was the first guy. They took him out. Then we all came out. So when I came, the pilot said that he's going to do a report.
Motives behind the act carried out by the passenger are still unknown. Minape said the passenger later told him that he was transiting from Solomon Islands.
These things came into. The only thing was that we have to contain and control him to land the aircraft safely. But for security reasons, yes, we got to really step up.
Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
In response to reports of the incident, Air Niugini management has brushed aside claims of a possible hijacking attempt on PX392. In a statement released this afternoon, Air Niugini confirmed that the incident happened after a male adult passenger inflated a life jacket in the aircraft cabin. Air Niugini maintains that at no time was the safety of its passengers and crew at risk. The matter was reported to authorities in Singapore, with PNG authorities also investigating the incident. Ex-servicemen camping outside Igam Barracks say they are still waiting to be repatriated. EMTV Leh visited the former soldiers at the makeshift shelters outside the main gates this morning. The families at the camp say life is hard while living under tents since being evicted 2 years ago under a retrenchment exercise by the Defence Force. Harry Agimbari with this report.
This creek serves as a lifeline for a group of families of ex-servicemen of the Defence Force. This year will mark 2 years since they were evicted out of their Igam Barracks homes. Retired Sergeant Leo Wombe, with 30 years of service, told MTV News of the daily struggles while waiting for repatriation.
Only penny mi long interim barracks, so mi plan sa stop tas also belong house help mi plan stop. Mi plan ukat wara. Creek time blosan em se try up mi plan sa some time lo wara all house mi plan stop and buruk.
Although the families are supported on pensions, they say it is not enough.
Papa lili pension blo le mi plan kisime em sa buying rice or disla sa help mi plan sa mi plan stop sem norat na mi plan sa go all friends sa help mi plan tulo sa plan kai o naka plywood em mi plan sa go kata. Kuanta labus karen dol friends number to plywood stop or help mi plan.
These families were affected by the Defense Force resizing exercise in the early 2000s. Many of these ex-soldiers will not see the fruits of their labor. The family of the late retired Sergeant Jerry Apu lost their father in 2012. Since then, daughter Esther has held the fort, also waiting.
So now me plus stop and musem 2 years now me plus stop. Na au me plus stop oseme side blow wara and big problem. Me plus facing big problem side blow wara.
2017 will be another year of waiting. For these men of valor, they will wait in vain. Harry Egimbari, National MTV News, Leh.
A group of frustrated NCD contractors who have been waiting for 9 years for the balance of payments owed to them have called on the Minister for Education and the Prime Minister to settle their outstanding claims. The contractors say they have not been paid for services such as the construction of school fences and classrooms in the city in 2008. The contractors expressed their frustration to MTV today.
NCD contractors have been waiting for years for the final half payment from the Minister for Education, Nick Kuman. They have raised their concern outside FinCorp House at Waigani today.
We are the very people who said in building classrooms, teachers' houses, all this. When you are saying free education, flooding all schools one time, can mangi go inside there. Nipla work in classroom now, teachers' houses and library, all these things, Nipla work in long end. Looking Nipla past time and beyond putting millions and millions of tina in TFF funds or all this plan.
It has been 9 years from now that they have been waiting for that half payment. 25 of the contractor workers have already passed away while waiting for the payment. Joe is now appealing to the minister to hear their cry and help them before proceeding into election this year.
Up to this time, and Nipla wait yet. Wait yet now. Minister must talk to one time PM finish or Nipla no clear na. Minister na secretary must come out clearly na talk sour or Nipla long. One time straight. One of something Prime Minister been talk na come out na talk sour long all this law legally man Mary all his rendering service go along department. One time on money belong all wait long 9 years.
MTV understands that the Education Minister has raised this concern to the Cabinet. Sawato Hahambu, National MTV News.
Acting Deputy Governor of Western Province, Abini Gesele, has been charged with 1 count of false assumption of authority. It is alleged that Mr. Gesele extended his term as Deputy Governor without following due processes. It is further alleged that Gesele conspired with Secretary of Personal Management John Kali in the extension of his appointment. He was apprehended by officers from the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate in Port Moresby. Gesele has been released on 500 kina bail, and this matter is before the Waigani District Court. National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Transport issues will be the focus for the coming 10th APEC Transportation Ministerial Meeting in Port Moresby. Transport Minister Malakai Tabar said economic development relies heavily on an efficient transport system. The meeting will be held from the 9th to 13th October this year.
The Transport and National Events Minister announced the dates this afternoon in a joint news conference. Minister Chichanko said this meet will bring about 70 transport ministers from APEC countries.
And we welcome them to our country and once again to promote the economic viability of our country to where it's to move forward.
Both ministers admitted that the current port transport system across the nation was not up to standard, but agreed that the meeting will push PNG forward in redefining a better transport system for the country.
Gauge ourselves and the transportation system we have in this country, marine, land and air, the things that we need to do, we need to change to improve and come on par with everybody else around this region.
All modes of transport will be the focus by establishing a public-private partnership initiative to elevate and improve connectivity within PNG and the region. Transport Minister Malakai Tabar will be presenting a number of bills for PMV operators when Parliament resumes this month.
Hopefully we should be able to pass all of those new reviewed areas through Parliament to make sure we can affect positively our public transport system in Papua New Guinea.
Meanwhile, Minister Chachenko says all other preparations for hosting the 2018 APEC is progressing well. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
Fly River Provincial Government is last of the 5 provincial beneficiaries to sign the unit application agreement and exercise their Croton equity option through Kumul Petroleum Holdings vendor finance. They were among 3 other landowner groups who had expressed their interest to exercise their options before the commercial arrangement expired on the 31st of December.
Fly River Provincial Government Acting Deputy Governor Abini Gesele, on signing the Croton Equity Unit application today, pledged his commitment to the commercial agreement for his people's benefit after narrowly missing out on the option.
And I don't want to fail Western Province again the second time, because in 2008 forum in Kokopo, Western Province was left out because there was nobody, there was no governor there, no MPs were there.
Juha, better known as PDL9, pipeline and plant-side landowner beneficiary groups have also signed the unit application agreement to exercise their Croton equity options using KPHL's vendor finance. Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited Managing Director Wapu Sonk cleared rumors that Croton was a company within KPHL, saying its role is solely to implement the agreement that was reached in the terms expressed in the UBS agreement and provide additional benefits for the landowners and relevant provincial governments if they elect to invest in Croton.
Croton is only there for purposes of PNG LNG project only. And special purpose vehicle. Or not for business law kumul, we are working on not for subsidiaries or at the holding level.
He assured that the board and management of KPHL are committed to ensure that all landowners and provincial governments, once exercised, receive their entitlements under the UBS agreement.
And this was one of the benefits added on top of development levy to the provincial government, the royalty, and all the project commitments. Everything else that you get through the legislative benefits.
After this signing ceremony, KPHL will work with those beneficiary groups that have signed up to complete the statutory aspects of the transaction for the beneficiary group's shareholding interests in Croton to be registered. In addition to these beneficiary groups who have exercised their Croton equity option, 1 landowner beneficiary group from Moran, and 4 provincial governments, Southern Highlands, Hela, Gulf and Central provincial governments, had taken up their option on the 27th of December 2016, also using KPHL's vendor finance. Melissa Gaviro, National EMTV News.
An urban village in Port Moresby had their water project commissioned by NCD Governor Poes Pakop and Moresby South MP Justin Tichenko. Dura community in Kirakira village were overjoyed as this was an answered prayer after many years of living without water supply.
Dura community is situated further away from the main Kirakira village, just near Port Moresby's Sabama suburb.
This project is sponsored by the Governor and myself, 50-50. This project will bring ease a lot of pressure off the communities here, especially our Motu Koitabu people, allow them to wash, to eat, to shower, to do their laundry, to look after themselves, much easier than they've been doing.
The water will greatly benefit the 2,000 plus residents of Dura community.
Of the city. There's still, ethnically Motuans and Koitabu and mixed with all the Keremas and everybody else, Kairukus too, but they are modern part of our city. We got to modernize the Motu and Koitabu villages so they live in par with everybody else.
The water project started last year. Supply channels were also completed in November last year.
It was absolutely a pain to look for water. We would carry containers, go as far as Gerahu, or go as far as 6 Mile, looking for water. And I once went to Baruni to fetch water. So you can see the hardship we went through for the last 20 years. So thank you, Honorable Minister Justin Chichenko. You have made our wish come true. You have dried our tears.
The residents were so happy to finally have water supply after so many years of struggle. The water supply is said to be the first phase of development plan for the community.
I do not want to let down either all our people from Gulf and Mekio. Don't think you're left out. This is phase 1 of the Kira Kira project here. This is phase 1. Phase 2 starts in the next couple of months towards your area and goes down to our Gulf and Popo area here as well for...
Kaile Kivali, National EMTV News.
Treasury Minister Patrick Puraj says the country's economy depends mainly on commodity prices. His statement comes due to the falling commodity prices on the global market, which has also affected our economy. Minister Puraj said to navigate around the issue, the government has had to cut down on expenditures and also defer some programs that are not priority. However, he said the government will only fund essential services until the commodity price picks up again.
In terms of our budget, it is a reduced budget because of the current trend in terms of inflows coming into our economy. So we've cut on the expenditure and deferred some of the programs that we are unable to fund.
A severe fuel shortage has hit Mount Hagen as motorists and residents stock up on what's left of the city's fuel as residents contend with landslips that cut off the flow of supplies into the highlands. MTV's Hagen correspondent Vasinata Yama reported this morning that fuel prices had risen over the last 36 hours as the supplies dwindled. Meanwhile, the president of the Road Transport Association, Jacob Luke, who is currently in Hagen, expressed frustration over the lack of maintenance along the Highlands Highway. Along the Simbu section of the Highlands Highway, traffic came to a standstill over the past week, with locals charging road tolls for pedestrian traffic crossing the damaged section. Speaking as president of the Road Transport Association, Jacob Luke has also requested travelers to delay traveling to the Highlands for at least 3 days until the roadblocks are cleared. And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3150 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3075 $0.4111 Australian dollars, $0.2882 euro, and 35.24 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, and copra closed higher, while cocoa closed the day lower. Crude oil closed lower, while palm oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 98.75 points higher. The ASX is trading at 4.63 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 2.12 points lower. Stories making headlines overseas when we come back, including the internet search for Sasha Obama after her absence from the outgoing president's farewell speech yesterday. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. This is the first of its kind for Papua New Guinea Defence Force to send officers to New Zealand for pilot training. This project is part of the New Zealand Defence Force's assistance to PNGDF. 3 officers will depart tomorrow to undertake the pilot training project. DW journalism student Gaile Kivali reports.
3 officers, 2nd Lieutenant Ate Amatia, 2nd Lieutenant Cameron Ozea, and 2nd Lieutenant Kispe Nare were farewelled today by PNGDF Chief of Staff Colonel Raymond Numa.
And God has made this possible, and you travel with the spirit and the blessing and the spiritual leadership of the God Almighty.
He says this was part of fulfilling the directive from the PNG-DF White Paper of growing the military capability by 5,000 this year. The DF Chief of Training, Captain Philip Polewara, says this is a significant step forward.
It's very significant for the PNG-DF, especially the air element. They've been dragging behind, and now, with these all opportunities, it's opportunity not only for the PNG-DF but for the country.
The officers were selected through a strict screening process. Requirements such as high IQ levels and high disciplinary levels. However, this was just the first part of the selection process.
In aircraft, there's high standard of safety requirements. So the pilots that are selected must have that high standard. Now they're going to go through the second part of the selection before they actually commence their proper training on the 23rd of January this year. So the second part of selection is called flight training, and through that they will be put through that to test them in how they can withstand and maneuver and the functions of the aircraft.
He says he is confident that the officers will successfully complete the training. The program's expenses will be fully covered by the government. Being an expensive exercise, it challenged the officers to be good ambassadors of PNG.
We want each an investment, not only by the PNG Defence Force in you, but the country as a whole. The government of Papua New Guinea, the people of Papua New Guinea are investing in you to train. So we ask you and we expect you to maintain a high standard of discipline, high standard of personal conduct, and most importantly, you are ambassadors of this country.
During the farewell, the three candidates signed their written commitments.
The return of service obligation they have signed. Whenever we give 1 year to a training, he has to give 2 years in return. So they will be here for a while.
When they come back from their training, it is a requirement that they give back a minimum of 6 years service to the state. Gaile Kivali, National MTV News.
Turning overseas, the top U.S. intelligence chief is offering up new details about the recent links concerning Donald Trump. James Clapper says he spoke with the president-elect by phone on Wednesday night. Clapper appeared to address a document which includes Trump's ties to Russia. During his news conference, Trump refused to say whether he had received that document as part of his intelligence briefing.
Donald Trump wasted no time ripping into news reports that the U.S. intelligence community provided unproven information to him at a meeting last week, that the Russian government has collected damaging personal and financial details on him for years.
I think it's a disgrace that information would be let out. I saw the information, I read the information outside of that meeting. It's all fake news, it's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
As for the U.S. intelligence community's finding that Russia directed a hacking operation to damage Hillary Clinton, Trump for the first time accepted that conclusion.
As far as hacking, I think it was Russia, but I think we also get hacked by other countries and other people.
But he said there's nothing wrong with being friends with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
If Putin likes Donald Trump, I consider that an asset, not a liability.
But Trump is still refusing to release his tax returns to prove that he has no business interests at stake in Russia.
You know, the only one that cares about my tax returns are the reporters, okay? They're the only ones.
And the president-elect refused to take follow-up questions from this reporter on whether any of his associates had contacts with Russian officials during the campaign.
Not you.
Can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are attacking our news organization.
Your organization.
Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can
quiet,
you state,
quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you state
She's asking a question. Don't be rude.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir, the news conference was originally scheduled to lay out Trump's plans to place his vast empire in a trust run by his sons Don Jr. and Eric.
As a president, I could run the Trump organization, great company, and I could run the country. I do a very good job, but I don't want to do that.
To avoid a constitutional ban on Trump receiving gifts from other countries, his attorney revealed profits from foreign government officials staying at his hotels will be donated to the U.S. Treasury.
This way, it is the American people who will profit.
Trump did take on other topics, vowing he will sign a bill to replace Obamacare just as soon as the health care law is repealed.
It'll be repeal and replace. It will be essentially simultaneously.
And he promised once again Mexico will reimburse the U.S. for a wall on the border, right after U.S. taxpayers foot the bill first.
On the fence. It's not a fence, it's a wall. You just misreported it. We're going to build a wall.
Trump also said in the coming weeks he would announce his pick for the Supreme Court to replace the late Justice Antonin Scalia. It's a selection Republicans in Congress did not allow President Obama to make in his final year in office.
There seems to be plenty of business opportunities for Donald Trump across Asia. The president-elect has 144 companies in 25 countries.
Families in the Philippines. This promotional video for the soon-to-be-opened Trump Tower in Manila also underlines a close family relationship between Trump and Philippines real estate magnate Jose Antonio.
It's really great working with Century Properties and the Antonio family.
Antonio's Century Properties is building Trump Tower in the Makati business district of Manila. Trump doesn't own it, but licensing deals are lucrative for him. According to FEC forms, he claims he made more than $9 million for the use of his name globally in 2015.
We are bringing Trump to the Philippines because...
But Trump and Antonio could soon be talking politics, officially. In October, Antonio was appointed the Philippines' special envoy to the US, focusing on trade.
Do they like me in Indonesia?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Trump's business interests also stretch to Indonesia. This site on the tourist island of Bali will be Asia's first Trump resort. Building is scheduled to start this year. The man behind this project is media tycoon Harry Tano, a man with political ambitions of his own. He ran unsuccessfully for vice president of Indonesia in 2014. He and Trump are also partners in a hotel in West Java. Hotels are also on the radar for Trump in China. Trump Hotel CEO Eric Danziger told the Nanfang Daily, a newspaper based in southern China, that the company plans to open hotels in 20 to 30 cities across the country, both under the Trump brand and another one of its brands called Sile. CNN has reviewed Trump's most recent financial disclosures and found that he has a total of 144 business interests across 25 countries. With growing concerns about potential conflicts of interest, that's a lot to untangle as he prepares to assume the presidency of the United States.
Outgoing President Barack Obama used his farewell address to praise his two daughters as his proudest achievements, but one was missing at yesterday's occasion. The search for Sasha Obama skyrocketed on the internet.
Malia and Sasha, under the strangest of circumstances, you have become two amazing young women.
Only one of the two was there.
You are kind and you are thoughtful and you are full of passion.
While Malia shed a tear, Sasha had disappeared, inspiring the hashtag "Where is Sasha?" A tweet featuring binoculars asked, "But for real, where is Sasha Obama?" And there was this answer, hopefully blocking the driveway to the White House so the next occupant can't move in. The family of four inexplicably reduced to three.
She was out on a date?
No.
She's got the flu?
No.
She was taking care of the dogs?
No. Tweeted someone. Anyone else wondering if Sasha Obama is the designated survivor? As the president spoke, Google searches for Sasha spiked over searches for Malia. Remember back in 2008 when Sasha asked her dad up on the screen,
"Daddy, what city are you in?"
That's what we wondered about you, Sasha.
She hates Chicago.
No.
She wouldn't go.
No.
She had to study.
The White House says Sasha couldn't come to Chicago because she had an exam the next morning at her private school in Washington. A once-in-a-lifetime farewell speech by Dad versus a science exam?
I think it's important that they're showing that the education is the most valuable thing.
But whether or not Sasha aces the exam...
Of all that I have done in my life, I am most proud to be your dad.
Chukai Sports is next. Stay tuned for details.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome to True Guys Sports. Construction work and the completion of the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium will continue soon. The government hopes the stadium can be completed by the end of the year. Elijah Lavette reports.
The stadium has an outstanding of about 40 million kina to complete. The construction of the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium was a private-public partnership with Curtin Brothers. With the project to continue, the government is seeking sponsorship and funding from private and corporate sectors to help finish off the stadium under a tax credit scheme. Once it is complete, it will be the biggest stadium in Papua New Guinea and in the region, with a seating capacity of 20,000. It will be a multi-purpose field which will be used for football, rugby league and rugby union. Appropriate fencing will be built around the stadium with the availability of car park space and the inclusion of restaurants and cafes in the stadium. Once completed, the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium will become a commercial entity where they will have to make money to look after the facilities. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
Who would have thought a person with physical impairment would play cricket just like anyone else? This is a story of people who are living with impairments who did not settle for the comforts of their homes. Those who would rather take up a bat or a ball and experience the thrills of a cricket pitch. There are some who have already turned heads and even perceptions in Qatar. Take Farhan Saeed for one, who lost a leg to polio at the age of 2. Today, Saeed hops on his right leg with the support of a crutch when he delivers a ball. Though many of them have been subjected to stigma and discrimination, their mental perseverance throughout it all and physical endurance during matches is admirable. Most of them are low-income earners who said cricket has helped them improve their standing in their communities. PNG's swim star Annalisa Mopio-Jane, who works as an elite athlete program coordinator at the University of Queensland, says she's unsure of the specific job she would like to work in as she is continuously learning new skills every time. Representing PNG at all levels of her swimming career, she hopes she can get a job in the Olympics.
Annalisa started her swimming career in the late 90s. She first competed in PNG National Championships and the regionals before her first major international competition in 2002. Right now, she is struggling to decide what career she would like to have in life, but says her dream job would be to work for the Olympics. Winning gold for her country in the 2015 Pacific Games, Annalisa shared the moment with her teammates and supporters who were there to cheer for Team PNG.
I don't know who's smiling the most, Elizabeth there or the competitors. Look at Liz.
Winning a total of 6 medals, the success came after she was asked to represent her home, an achievement she says she will treasure forever. Although she admits it was difficult balancing her independent life, having a full-time job and training commitments, to get back into the pool after 3 years of retirement. Annalisa, who retired in 2012 and now aged 31, represented PNG in 3 Pacific Games in 2003, 2007 and 2011, and the recent 2015 Games on home soil, a Commonwealth Game, FINA World Championships, and her recent personal best, a lifetime opportunity she achieved in 2008 Beijing Olympics, among others. She had also made 2 semi-finals at the 2010 Delhi Commonwealth Games for 50-meter backstroke and 50-meter freestyle. She will continue to pursue her dreams to one day find herself working in the Olympics. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
True Guys Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome back to True Guys Sports. To football, Patrick Nelly, the man who is widely credited for creating the global cash cow for the FIFA World Cup, has called the FIFA World Cup expansion absurd. Nelly, a British entrepreneur, widely acknowledged as the founding father of modern sports marketing, has blasted FIFA President Gianni Infantino's plan to expand FIFA World Cup to original 32 to 48 teams.
Patrick Nelly, who broke FIFA's first major sponsorship deal with Coca-Cola ahead of the 1978 World Cup, said the sports body's decision to inflate the size of the tournament from 32 teams will devalue it and ultimately make it less attractive and lucrative. Nelly, in a statement, said FIFA has rushed through this 48 plan thinking it's going to make them billions more. They will make billions less, and to make this a 48-team event to pander to Asian countries, it's absurd. FIFA President Gianni Infantino announced the expansion in Zurich on Monday, fulfilling a promise he made during last year's election campaign. He said the move meant more nations would be able to participate, and many more will have a chance to dream. Infantino further explained that the football fever in a country that qualifies is the biggest promotion of the sport imaginable. But Nelly said a bigger tournament is a weaker one, and the last year of the World Cup is in danger. The man often referred to as the founding father of the modern-day sports marketing was on point when he said the World Cup could be revamped by FIFA, improving competition and qualification at the Continental Confederation level to help bring Asian, African and American standards to the level of Europe and South America. But simply inviting more to party was not the answer. Nelly asked a question to FIFA: do we want a tournament with the world's best, or with unknown, nondescript players that won't excite the kids? Shane Soroya, National MTV Sports.
20-year-old Cohen Bramal of UK, who lost his temporary job on December 20th at a luxury car manufacturer, was offered a trial by London football club Arsenal and overnight signed a contract with the team on the 10th January. Bramal, who is now with the English Premier League team, described his transition from unemployment to being employed as mental. Cohen is now rubbing shoulders with star footballers like Mesut Özil, Alexis Sanchez and the Scorpion Kick goal scorer Oliver Giroud. And that ends True Guys Sports. The weather details up next.
True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow: in the southern region, showers in Port Moresby and Popondetta, showers and rain in Daru, and a shower or two in Kerma and Alotau. In the Momase region, showers in Ley and Medang, a shower or two, then fine in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, showers and rain in Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, showers and morning fog in Mount Hagen, and scattered showers and morning fog in Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, Kerma to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samarai Island, with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel, to Finschhafen, with Finschhafen through Vitia Strait, Siasi Islands to Long Island, with waters of Long Island, Medang to Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo to northern PNG Indonesian border, and with waters of New Island to New Britain to Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 to 1 meter. Ocean forecast for PNG areas: in the Coral Sea, sea slight with northwest to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Solomon Sea, sea slight with northeast to easterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate with northwest to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, sea slight with northeast to southerly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Passenger speaks of in-flight incident. Ex-servicemen in Leh still awaiting repatriation, and transport issues to be focus of October APEC meeting. And that has been tonight's news, Thursday the 12th of January 2017. On behalf of the entire EMTV team, I'm Helen Sea. Pleasant viewing. Good night.